distracted. Good evening. This is the Mixed Bag at Belmont Village Story Swap on Monday, third Monday, always the third Monday, January 15, 2024. John Petrick.
It's Petrick, actually.
Thank you.
No. Are you ready for me? Well, that was a short intro.
That was.
Okay. All right. This is a true story. And I told it at that brew pub last week that has live telling in East Sacramento. And I was told that it was a dead story. So let's see here. I'm going to put myself in the spotlight so I can see myself. Okay. Many of us are parents. I mean, and for those of us who parent with a partner, we know that you have to support that partner. If mom says no, dad has to say no. Otherwise, things can get out of control. Well, this story takes place about 35 35 years ago. And my wife and I were living in Minot, North Dakota. And one thing that North Dakota does really, really well is cold. But when you live somewhere, you got to embrace it, right? So we would do outdoor activities. We would go cross-country skiing, do other stuff outside. And we wanted to raise our kids to be strong and hardy North Dakotans. One thing we hadn't done a lot of was ice skating. Ice skating, like, what's the most popular sport in the Winter Olympics? It's women's ice skating, right? Watching these graceful women, athletic, glide and jump over the ice. And what romantic comedy doesn't have a scene where Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan or their equivalents fall in love at the skating rink in Central Park? And ice hockey, I don't know if you've ever been to a hockey game, but the intensity and the speed of the hockey game is just so much faster than any game played on grass. So I was interested in getting my kids involved in ice skating. Well, it was a Sunday afternoon, and it must have been just before Christmas because my wife, Rebecca, went to the mall to go Christmas shopping, and I had the kids, and I was going to take them ice skating. And there's ice skating rinks all around town. There's probably a dozen of them at least, because all you need for ice is water and cold. And so in Minot, North Dakota, about mid-November, the park district would just open up the fire hydrants and flood these low-lying areas. And a day later, you had a skating rink. And the one near our place in the school, there were two rinks. There was a figure skating rink and there was a hockey rink. So I drive the kids over to the school, get all their snowsuits on and their caps and their mittens, and I tie on their little skates, and we climb up over this little snowbank, and we're down in the skating rink. And it's a beautiful sunny day. It's cold, but it's sunny, and it's people. There's a lot of people going around the oval. And my daughter Molly, she was about 6, and she just must have skated before because she took right to it. But my son Will, he was 4, and he struggled. He would take like 2 steps and he would just go sprawling out on the ice. And of course, as a boy, he had to have hockey skates, and they have longer blades and they sit up a little higher on the ice, and they're harder to skate in. But I worked with them, and we go 5 steps and maybe even glide a little bit before he fell down. And we just kept working and working, and he had a pretty good attitude about it. And eventually we got to the point where we went all the way around the rink and he only fell down about 3 or 4 times. So I thought, you know, I really would like to get a few swings in myself. And so I told Will, you just keep going around and dad'll catch up with you, and I'll stop and see how you're doing every time I go around. So I skate down to the other end of the rink and I hear this scream. And I don't even recognize the scream. It's like so horrible. And I get down to the other end of the rink, and there's Will sprawled out on the ice, and he is screaming. It's not a cry, it is a scream. And I try to calm him down. I can't calm him down. And so the thing with Will was if you told him you're going to give him candy, he would immediately become happy. So I said, Will, I'll take you over to the warming hut and we'll get you some hot cocoa. And he's still screaming. So anyway, I pick him up, I take over to the warming hut and sit him down on a bench, go and get some hot cocoa, and I bring it back. And by now he's not screaming. He's just kind of blubbering and whimpering. And I give him the hot cocoa and he's drinking it, and we're watching the hockey rink, and there's a bunch of young boys playing hockey, and they're having the time of their lives, and they're hooting and hollering. And I say, Will, a couple of years you'll be big like those guys. You'll be able to play hockey with them. And then I look at my watch and I realize it's time to go pick up my wife, Rebecca. I don't know why she didn't have a car, but I had to go out to the mall to pick her up. So I get the kids, get them back over the snowbank, get all their gear off, get their boots on, get them all locked in the car. And I start driving to the mall. And it's only about 10 minutes. And I'm telling the kids, boy, I'm so proud of you guys. You you really handled the cold really well. You're both getting to be so much better skaters. I'm really proud of you. But Will, you might not want to tell mom that you got hurt because she might not let you go skating again. So we're driving along and we just get to the crossing the highway to enter into the mall. And Will says, Dad, I think I'm gonna tell mom. And he did. And we had x-rays and he had a broken wrist. And none of my kids ever became Olympic skaters. That's it.
Wow. Hi, Will. Wow. Oh, thank you, Marion. Oh, I had it down from 34 to 40 after. So but I didn't look at the clock right away. Marion had you at more than 7 minutes. Thank you. Um, would you like any feedback?
Sure, absolutely.
Do you want to go first, Marion?
What's the time? Oh,
It's a mute. It's a mute thing.
oh, okay.
There. Right. Yes, he was 7 minutes even. I'm letting it take more. I didn't forget so it was 7. Okay. I was following your story. And I wasn't sure what I got wrong to what well, wasn't really. Yeah, wasn't so that anticipation. It goes away if I talk slow. I anticipated when you told your story, and that's nothing for us. So listening and wondering where it was gonna go. It was gonna go on the journey with you. Thank you.
Did you hear any of that, Linda?
No, I turned up my volume. I could ask Marion to turn her volume up. Am I too loud now?
You're okay. You're not too loud.
Um,
We could not hear you, Marion.
what's frustrating is that for the first 5+ minutes, Marion's audio was in my ear was fine, and I don't know what might have changed that because I brought the soft subject up. Maybe I don't know. I don't mean to sound suspicious.
Volume was down. Are you saying the volume was down?
Oh, you're not breaking up right now.
Good. Okay. What I said was I enjoyed the story. I was listening and following through, wondering what happened to Will. And he was crying, but I wasn't convinced he was hurt. Wasn't convinced about why he was screaming until you actually said in the car. What you said, yeah. I still didn't know till the very end. You said he had an X-ray.
Oh, yeah. I forgot to say that when we were having a hot chocolate, I noticed his hand was like this. I forgot that part of the story. So that would have given you the hint. But I just spaced that line out. I just, just one line where I noticed that his hand was a little disfigured. I forgot to say that. So that,
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
So that showed up for your listener. Like,
yeah.
still not sure what's happening. Like I
Right.
said, he could have been worried. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was going to reveal something else. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, that was my fault. I just spaced that line out.
That's
So.
why we practice. Next time you won't forget that part.
Marion, thank you. Like me, when John was telling, did you yearn, as did I, for to spell the name of the town in the great state of,
North Dakota.
it was in North Dakota, but it sounded like Leon, Lina. It sounded like
Oh,
Lina, but I wanted it spelled.
oh, Minot, Minot.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, the Kaiser hearing and assessment person, she told me my consonants are definitely falling away when I'm listening to people, and I never really did get your T, so thank you for that. I had that wrong. Did you have anything else to add, Marion? Because I want to launch in, because I loved this ice skating thing. We all have probably our own ice skating thing. And with Will's, I'm really, by the end of my hearing about him, I'm very divided, legs versus upper body, lower body and upper body. And your whole story, once I got to the end of it, does a great, it presents a great opportunity for upper lower, because I'm wondering if he's really yelling, how and I realize he's in a hockey skates, not regular ice skates. I'm thinking that, oh my gosh, maybe it's really something bad. And then it's clear it's not super bad. But I love the idea that your story is like an hourglass. You know, it really has a top and a bottom, and they're obviously at opposite ends. And so are Will's, his whole little Willness. He gets the shoes on, the skates on, and he goes around and he follows your instruction when you separate, and he goes about, and 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 then it's like the hourglass is flipped upside down, but we don't know that. We're listening, and we're not on ice anymore. We're headed for chocolate. We're going to find mom, And then there's this other big entrance to my ears, and that is, well, you might not want to tell mom. And then there's this denouement down to, well, Dad, I think I'm going to tell mom. I love the pacing and the emotions and the visuals and the relating. I mean, thanks for it.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I don't know to what degree people from California can appreciate that story, because you guys may never have been ice skating before,
Well, thanks to
I
Girl
mean.
Scout. Girl Scout leader, she got us around the rink, roller skating too.
North
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sacramento has the Iceland.
They have a rink downtown. I saw a
24.
rink downtown last week. I didn't see the actual rink, but I saw the sign and the and the place where it was. So they're trying to do the Central Park Rockefeller Center thing in downtown Sacramento. So
Near the Capitol?
North
it's
Sacramento.
it's
North Sacramento has Iceland skating rink. Doesn't exist today. And that's what I would skate on with the Girl Scout trip. Group with the church youth group. We went to North Sacramento to Iceland. And I have a chunk of the special glass bricks outside when they dismantled them. They sold them as jewelry for mementos and fundraising. I went upstairs because it's a memory for me to go to Iceland.
I wish I could hear you better, Mary. I am hard of hearing
Oh,
too, so I maybe it's, but I'm missing a lot.
Yeah, I should have been doing this too. Come February, mixed bag, Kirk and I will both have been fitted for our Kaiser hearing aids. So I'll be filled with opinions, I'm sure. So let's see. Marion, would you like to tell? You may not want to be
I would.
recorded. Okay, very good. So, Marion Ferrante.
Thank you. Welcome to the video audience. We already have it set up by Dave Open Boy. It's quite a text. So I've signaled them to go like this. Okay. My topic is the story. I'm going to begin. This man as an honor to parent. I think we're off big. He passed away just December 26th, 29, 2024. And was not that he could dinner at Sage Dish in the middle of February here, a few weeks away. Going to tell the group of memory time about the day that Claire and Marion brought to light a Holocaust story. They actually started with a third person. Pause to see if my voice will catch up. Maria Vicente, think so. The word we were forgetting about this woman. We were in the library. This woman walked in and she told Holocaust story. So that's what a mention of it. And she said, I want to tell my story. And I felt that from the heart. And I knew how to further get her story out of her and into the public. I just found out that StoryCorps does have a soundproof booth in San Francisco. Plus, Stage Bridge was putting on a workshop. Teach anyone who want to become an informational to learn about StoryCorps. So I arranged with this gal Maria And we drove to Sage Ridge for an afternoon to learn about StoryCorps. I knew she didn't know anything about Sage Ridge, anything about StoryCorps. So it's educational for me, the details of how we might accomplish this. Claire, I did one off that same workshop and said, Maria. We learned all about StoryCorps, and Maria agreed. Okay, it would be fine and go with us a different day by appointment to San Francisco. And we arranged that day together. And it was an appointment. The 18th, and the Antioch, Maria, Pittsburgh, we go to her faith, rising, you know, to her faith, to take her up. Arranged with the last time to a little lunch at Claire's house. Soon Maria entered her school, being remarkable. Well, connected with Claire at the Sage Bridge event. The two of them just fought like we just got acquainted there and we're so comfortable with each other. That is why I asked Claire to be Maria's interviewer. I helped make everything happen. I just sensed that Claire would be a very good person to do the formal interview in this StoryCorps event, and it did work out that way. Back at Claire's house, we connected again for a run. I didn't know any information about the run, but Maria knew so much, and it was another connection that they had. She said, "Oh, hardly anyone, you know, comment or understands or knows where it came from, and about the making of the work." And you already know about that. But after lunch, we went to San Francisco 5:3. Right upstairs, they had a soundproof channel. We entered, and each of us had a mic. We sat at a small table beside that soundproof staff of StoryCorps. We had a microphone right in front of us, and introduced ourselves, went through the StoryCorps, we call up, your story. What would happen? We had 40 minutes to spend time on a recording. And that's what we did. We interviewed her beautifully and brought out. Just I'm here to appreciate Claire. Help make this happen for Maria. It was just a very special time to know how important this was for Maria. So Claire and I together helped o'clock story come forward. A couple things about her story that I remember. We talked to she was 3 years old and they were escaping from Hungary. When she walked, you know, holding on to mommy, she was 3 years old, holding on to mommy's hand and walking, only held by mommy for short periods of time. I forgot to time my story. To conclude, this that needs to be short, that she was 3 years old at the time. It was an intricate, strong story Maria gave of her own history. And she talked about, she remembered her father, her mother, wearing a coat, a soldier's coat. She said, only Catholic go. What that? How did mother acquire? What did my mother cut from a soldier's coat? There, 45 minutes. Maybe she made it to do. So, he with that soldier too. Like his coat. It's horrified her. Her mother had been through such experiences. Maria was satisfied with her story, and of course, the 40 minutes ended. It is now posted and story corps their stories work in the Library of Congress. So I think you're like Claire helping me result Maria her story out of her heart to the mind and into the world with the Library of Congress. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Marion. You got through it, and I could get enough of it to know that Claire got through it and probably was a stellar. And I don't know, but I love StoryCorps. I'm very excited that you were able to help Claire get to the city. I didn't know StoryCorps had a SF spot, but I'm not surprised now that you mention it. That's great. It's just great. And
They
I don't.
have they have they've developed it further in that year. That's where it had to go to a story. These days you can do your own recording and send it and if they will take it, honor it, and register with the Library of Congress. You don't have to go in it anymore.
When you told your story tonight, were you talking about a few years ago? Several years ago?
Like pre-pandemic, and I need to do some homework for my sharing now.
Oh,
To look up what the date is. Yeah,
so speaking for
there
John
you
and
go.
myself, we're both thinking that StoryCorps did was SAC did, and that is pandemic, then go to Zoom or then go to StoryCorps permitting tellers to submit on video.
We could influence them for more of the videos. Could be, I don't know.
So I remember StoryCorps had like a mobile sound truck that they would take. I remember a local public radio station in North Dakota would say, "Come and tell your story at StoryCorps," and you would go to the public radio studio, but you wouldn't record in the studio. They had like a mobile, StoryCorps had like a mobile sound truck that had a couple rooms in it, and you would go talk to that. And I didn't do it, but I had signed up for it for whatever reason, couldn't do it. And then, but then for several years afterwards, I would always get the email from StoryCorps, like at the end of the year saying, you are this is the holiday season. You're probably meeting with your older relatives, and you should take advantage of that and record them. And so for several years, I got that email kind of during the holiday period, but I haven't got it for a long time. But
It's
Supposed to
I,
just spark you to talk. It's supposed to spark you to talk to your, especially older relatives.
I could, I knew you were talking about a story for that. I knew, but I just, there were so many details that I did not pick up that I wish I could have. The other thing though is I did get a thing that said you had low bandwidth, that Marion has low bandwidth.
I did too.
And
I got that too.
and then sometimes your picture was going in and out. So like your earphones would look like you had longer hair. So I saw you as a person that I suspect at some point in your life you had long hair, right? Oh, never. Oh, okay. Because I was thinking, oh man, I bet you that's what she looked like
Maybe 4 days.
when she was younger. She probably had long hair. So I was getting a picture of what you might have looked at like.
We 3 years. That was it.
Okay.
Do both of you have grandchildren? Kirk and I never even had children. Do you have grandchildren? Because it seems to me that the story that the time is eternal till it stops, And whatever advice you all, John mentioned it specifically, were getting in the day is still around, because it would be, I'm just saying that I think it would be cool for your grandchildren to be able to have a record of you talking about your own memories and the memories you have of your parents or their parents. It's second and third hand, but I'm just underlining it.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like, I totally became interested in what my grandparents were like in the last 10 or 15 years, before I was too busy with my own life. And of course, they're long dead. They've been dead now for 50 years or whatever, long time. So, um, 40, 30 years for sure. So it's too late, too late.
Except for the fact that, especially if your grandparents were in North Dakota, were they?
They were in South
Because
Dakota.
even
Yep.
Marion and I realize what we're dealing with here, especially if we're in the winter in North Dakota. And what was how big was their house? Maybe you don't know.
Um, yeah,
And
I do know some of those things. I mean, I
and
remember when I was 8, my grandpa died. My grandma died when I was younger, but my grandpa died when I was probably about 10. So I do remember the house a little bit, like so.
was the plumbing indoors? Do you know?
Okay.
One of my grandparents had indoor plumbing, the other one did not. No, my dad's parents did not have indoor plumbing,
Because they were farmers.
right? Right.
Wow.
If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm
What are you
looking
doing?
back on the shelf because I have a binder. It says Marion on it. My brother prepared it. It's historical pictures and dialogue. Um, I'm looking to see if that's going to go with one more place down there. It's showing me that's a lot. So yeah, we do have historical uh, background family. Um, Colorado, take it on my I can't remember. My great grandfather was captured by the Indians in South Dakota. So he was
We can't hear you, but you've got a beautiful smile that is frozen. That is frozen.
yeah. Let me look out here.
Wow.
Tell me the significance of the word Eastburns. Is that a family name?
My maiden name. That's
That's your
my
maiden name?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
wow. I didn't remember that.
So we're not here for this, but different things. Let me find a picture. Let me find one picture and then I'll stop. Oh, here you go. Not a picture, but
Wow. Wow.
another one. Because my brother traveled there. My brother traveled there. I think this is where the church was. These things you could see and the church was, and that's around his grave. Right.
Where were the
So I
Iroquois?
have,
Iroquois weren't in
in
Sacramento,
Illinois.
in California?
No, no, I have Illinois.
Oh,
It's
Illinois,
farther
Illinois,
back.
Illinois. Okay, I forgot that. Thank you.
My brother visited there in 2001 and took the pictures. And we have, let's see, let me see who this is. Great grandpa. This is my great grandpa and grandma.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Neat. Really neat.
Okay. John,
Wow.
is that your wife singing?
A songbird for sure.
Yeah, that's she's singing. She's in a vocal group. I take it she's probably got her earplugs in listening to music and she doesn't even realize she's singing.
Wow. Gosh, we've got
Okay.
musicians. Marion plays handbells. I'm in a chorus. John's wife's in a chorus. All this singing. Neat. Well, I'm very glad the two of you came.
I'm gonna go too.
Well, I appreciate
Thank
you
you.
I appreciate you keeping this going when you've got only 2 or 3 people. That takes a lot of dedication.
Well, I don't have the organizational wherewithal, but I always hope to get better and send out my mixed bag invitations earlier, and there's ways around it. New Year's are something else, aren't they? They're great. So yay. So we can end
Hey,
if you like. And I will look forward to seeing us along the story trail.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
both.
thank you, Linda.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Yay, Marion. Thank you, Fred.
Still
Thank you,
recording.
Fred.
You're still recording.
Oh, thank you.